Hi there. Back in the 60s, when I was forming my musical taste, the national music papers were things like the NME, New Musical Express, Melody Maker, and so on. And we used to read these. Mates would have copies, we'd pass them around the school and so on. But uniquely, Mersey Beat was a local musical paper, and it was the first in the country. And the reason that it existed was because of the massive beat music scene in Liverpool. There were documented over 700 groups in the Mersey beat scene. So the market was there, the interest was there, and the content was obviously available. So Bill Harry, who started Mersey Beat, was at the art school, Liverpool College of Art, and he got to know Stu Sutcliffe. Now, Stu Sutcliffe was a very talented artist, and he was a friend of John Lennon. So Bill Harry was introduced to John Lennon through Stuart Sutcliffe, and they all became friends. And there was a flat in Percy Street behind the cathedral where they all used to meet. And one of the things that impressed Bill Harry about John was his poetry. And what I will do, I will read out Bill Harry's first impressions. The first time I noticed John Lennon was when he stalked into the canteen, this is the College of Art, with a group of friends. He stuck out like a sore thumb. At the college, as in various groups of communities, large or small, people tended to dress alike. The unconventional differing from the conventional and ending up looking, acting, thinking and dressing in the same way. John was different. Everyone else wore the type of gear students tended to wear at the end of the 50s. Chunky sweaters, tight trousers, duffel coats in shades of fawn black or navy blue. John was a Ted. There he was, stalking about the canteen, tall, skinny, with a DA haircut, dray knees, heavily rimmed glasses and a Teddy Boy draped jacket. So obviously the Beatles were formed, and Bill Harry decided to start the Mersey Beat as his sort of kind of cultural or artistic act within the scene, and he produced the Mersey Beat paper. And for a long time, in recent years, you couldn't get them, but they've been put together in the book, and this is it. Mersey Beat, the beginning of the Beatles, and it's by Bill Harry. And I was really glad to because it brought back so many memories of the Mersey Beat paper when I used to read it. So both John and Paul wrote for Mersey Beat, as did Brian Epstein. There's some really good photographs in the book of the guys. Really good black and white photo. This was the first issue, which came out, as I say, in July of '61, and it featured Gene Vincent. But the thing I wanted to mention was this column, a regular column by Bob Wooler, who obviously was the cavern DJ, and he used to keep everyone up to date, mainly on what was happening in the cavern. A lot of the photographs were specially taken by Dick Matthews, Richie Matthews. I got to know Richie a little bit, and he actually installed my burglar alarm. That's what he started doing in later life. So, as I say, there's many pages, and a famous edition is this one about the poll. They did a Mersey beat poll, and the Beatles, unsurprisingly, were the top. Now, there was a little bit of skullduggery, Bill Harry has talked about, where they found a lot of the entries were written in the same handwriting, same ink, for one particular act. But I think it wasn't the Beatles, and I think a lot of the acts probably did that kind of thing. But there's no doubt at all that the Beatles were the most popular group on Liverpool by any metric. One of the other things about the issues in the book, it doesn't have every issue, but the adverts are very interesting. It's got adverts for some of the venues, musical instruments, Hesse's shop and so on, and it's kind of a look back in time. Obviously, a lot of the material or the content is slanted, like Bob Waller's obviously talking about the Cavern mainly. Brian Epstein is obviously plugging NEMS, and that goes on now in the press, so nothing different there. So even though the Mersey Beat concentrates a lot on the Beatles, I'm not going to talk too much about the Beatles, because a lot of the books that I will be reviewing are about the Beatles, so there's no need to dwell on them here, except to say that the Mersey Beat really demonstrated their popularity in Liverpool. It was an invaluable way of us keeping in touch with what was happening in the various venues and all the big events that happened, like Operation Big Beat at the Tower, and the various cruises on the Royal Iris, for example, and you could find out about them. And I found this a really good trip down memory lane, and it's an invaluable part of the history of the Beatles and Mersey Beat.